ne quang tawana safjipa, ne habihon wai ne mian maziwa, ne Iva Honyestewa yan pahan maziwa, ne tawa wungwa, ne sungopanga sino. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Honwainim. My English name is Iva Honyestewa. I am Sun Clan from the village of Sungupavi. That's the northeastern part of Arizona. Second Mesa, Arizona is where I come from. And I'm from the Hopi tribe. I'm here to talk about my new creation. It's called Butsaya. It's a new basket that I had created. In 2014, I came to the School for Advanced Research to create this new basket. So I had this in mind 2 years ago. In 2012, I started thinking about combining two Hopi traditional baskets. This basket here is called a Butsaya. It's a sifter basket. And this is the first basket when you start weaving. This is the type of basket that we start out with, Hopi weavers. We do have a Hopi Women's Basket Society in our village, and they have their dances the end of October every year. That's where a lot of our young women learn how to weave baskets. And how I started to weave was, my mom was part of the Basket Society. And every year there's like a few women that throw baskets in the ceremony. We dance with the baskets in a circle, and a few women come in and then they throw these baskets, the sifter basket, and then this is a bota called a Butsaya. A bota that is a coil basket. So they throw these two type of baskets, and it was the year that my mom was throwing. She came over to our home. I have a little shop called Iskasukba Gallery in Second Mesa. It's attached to my home, and my first cousin, Beth Dewahongniwa, was working for me at the time when Mom came, and she said, I'm throwing this year, but I don't know how to make sifter baskets. She knows how to make the coil baskets, but she didn't know how to make the sifter basket. So she said that she needed some sifter baskets, so my first cousin told her, well, I'll teach Iva, we can make them for you. So Beth was the one that introduced me to making the sifter baskets. And when you first make these sifter baskets, there's a little diamond in the middle of this, just a simple diamond that goes outward. It's called the belly button. In Hopi, we call it sifna, meaning the belly button. It represents the beginning of life, just like when a baby is born, you cut the umbilical cord. That's the beginning of their life. Just that simple diamond with an important meaning behind it. But that's what the sifter basket with the diamond in the middle represents. So a few years later, I decided to go into the Basket Society, and my godmother, Iva Honyestewa, taught me how to make the coil basket. So this is just an example of what it looks like while you're still making it. The yucca strand's still coming out. The yucca plant is what we use in our Hopi baskets. So this is the coil, another example of how the designs can be designed into it. And this is an unusual design, a panda bear. But this particular basket, my godmother made for me when I got initiated into the Basket Society. So this is the basket that I dance with every October. So you can see that there's two different types of baskets, the coil and the sifter basket. And while I was at SAR, the 2 years before, I had mentioned to my uncle what I was planning on doing was combining the sifter basket with the coil basket. And he tells me, you better really think about what you're doing. And I'm like, why? And he goes, you don't just do things like that, especially if it's a traditional, like a traditional ceremony where we create these. And I said, okay, so what's the protocol for it? He says, you have to have a purpose behind something new that you're going to create. So when I came to SAR, they housed me in this huge house. I was there all by myself for 3 months, from March to June 1st. had a huge studio. As I was preparing my yucca, I brought a bunch of yucca with me. I was preparing it, and I had a lot of time by myself, quiet time. And I'm a people person. I like talking to people. And I'm like, there was 3 people that accidentally walked into the studio, and I was so happy when they came in. I had somebody to talk to. But with that quiet time there by myself, it gave me a chance to look at myself. It gave me a chance to look at my community. So I believe that I came there for a reason. I came to SAR to create this basket for a reason. And as I sat there, I was looking back at my community, and I never been away from home like 3 months like that, without my family. And it was hard. But as I was at SAR, I got to look at their collection there, their basket collection. I was really amazed at how the basket held up. For 100 years, the colors were so dark brown. And I told myself, well, now I can see what my basket's gonna look like 100 years from now. And with all the artistic talent from the 1400s, just amazing, different triangular baskets woven up with loops. And I said, boy, our people were so talented. And that kind of motivated me. It just motivated me to go with what I was planning on doing. So my first month, this is an example of the combination. The coil with the plated sifter basket around it. And as I was working there, preparing, trying to figure out, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna put this together? And it just hit me one day as I was sitting there cleaning my yucca. I have my purpose. My purpose came to me. So when I started weaving the coil, the center part of it, I told myself, I'm gonna weave this really tight. I want to kind of create our community where I'm gonna weave a tight coil to represent a tight foundation. There's so much corruption going on in our community, in our village. Alcohol, drug abuse, domestic violence, sexual assaults, even our political system, traditional political system is getting corrupted. All of that I saw and thinking, what can we do to fix that? So with my basket, I decided to send out a message. The coil is to represent a tight foundation for our community. And as I started tying every strand to this coil, I said, I'm gonna tie our people back together. Every strand is representing each and every one of us, to tie us back together, because I wanted a better future for our children. That was the purpose I came up with, that came to me, that is why this basket is being made, is to make it a better place for our children. And this particular design is a condor. In our Hopi tradition, we use a lot of the different bird feathers, especially the eagle feather. And a lot of those are used to communicate with the spiritual world. So all the different types of birds are very important to us, just as well as any living thing, because that's what we're taught. We're taught to respect life, everything that's moving, to accept each other for who we are. There's just so much things that I was taught as a young person to greet people as they come through the door. Always haksin mo basning, meaning bring them in carefully. And when I learned all this stuff, when I was at SAR, I was getting toward the end of my term, or my residency, and we do a presentation at the end of the session. They made up, you saw the picture up there earlier, that was on my invitation cards that I send out to everybody, my friends, some leaders in our community. And what happened was, they found out that I was creating this, and you saw the picture of the combination. What happened, the last day of my residency, I was packed and ready to go home when I got an email from one of our chief from the village. He says, I got word that you're teaching people how to make baskets and you're making piki in Santa Fe. I want you to stop what you're doing and come home right now, he said to me. And I'm like, what? So I responded back and I said, can we talk about this? Can I please explain what's really going on here? And he says, all I'm saying is that I want you to come home right now. But I had already finished my residency. I was packed and ready to go home. So when I got home, my mom says, oh, I have something to tell you. I said, oh, I already know. And she goes, I told her I got that email from our chief. And she says, your headline in the village for this new basket that you're creating. I said, oh, okay. So there was kind of some negative response to it. But before I left from SAI, I had posted it on Facebook. And I showed one of my creations. I got a lot of positive response, like, wow, that's so pretty. How did you do that? You know, all kinds of good positive response. But when I came home, I got a different response, and that's what as I was creating it, I'm thinking, I wonder what how our elders are going to respond. And come to find out, there was only 4 individuals that approached him and told him that I should stop making it. And of one of the 4 individuals, they went to my godmother and told her, tell your daughter to stop making this basket. She said, why? And then she said, it's not supposed to be made like that. We got to stick to the traditional way. And she says, I'm sorry, I can't tell her that. She's initiated, she earned that right to weave her basket however she wants. I'm sorry. Then she went to my aunt and told her the same thing because she's another firekeeper in our society. And she told her the same thing. I can't do that, that's her gift. I'm not gonna take that away from her. So I had some good support. And a lot of my friends started hearing about this. And then they started collecting information of the 4 individuals that were objecting to it, of how they were doing presentations. And they were saying, look, we have all this stack of stuff that they're doing wrong. You know, throw this back at them. And I'm like, no, because this is why I made it. It's for us to come together, not to pull us apart. It's for us to come together. I said, just don't worry about it. Let me deal with it. And I told my mom, just don't say anything. Let me deal with it. And come October, I left from there in June. Come October, when our Women's Society went into the Kiva, I went into the Kiva, and the Basket Society leader, after I came out, I was walking out, she called me. And then she said, come here. And I came over to her, and she goes, I'm glad you came in. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm obligated to be here. And it was because of the headlines that she got worried that I wasn't going to participate that year. So as we went through the ceremony, I created one and I showed it to her. And I explained to her that the reason why I made this, the reason why it was created was to bring us together, to bring our community together. And she accepted it. Oh, you can't imagine how happy I was when she accepted it. And she told me, okay, you're gonna dance with it all day, and then you're gonna bless it at the end of the day, and then you're gonna throw it to give it life. And that's what I did. So from that day on, I kept weaving it. And when I created that, she also told me, there's one thing though, I don't want you to teach anybody else but our own community members. And I told her, I can't promise you that, because anybody can look at this basket that's very artistic, they can recreate it. And I'm not stingy with it. I'm willing to share it because it has a big message. So I can't promise you that, I told her. And she just says, okay. So she accepted it, and that was something, I was so happy when I walked out of there, that to this day, I'm continuing weaving this basket. And with the basket designs that come into our basket, this one's a star. It's a lot of cultural teachings. When we make our basket, it's related to life, anything to do with life. And we're all connected with the universe, with the land, everything. We're all connected. And that's what I was taught. So I was very surprised how they were trying to stop me from weaving this. And that's one thing I'm very happy with, that I've learned those values. And that's what got me through this struggle of rejection in a point, but I continued to go with it. And it's because I believe that something positive was going to come out of this. And I prayed every morning thinking, if there's something wrong with this basket, show me now. Show me now. But through all of that time that I was weaving this, there was only that one time, and ever since then, it's been positive. So I'm very excited that it's here. And these are some of my baskets. And Asquali, thank you. Asquali.